Hello, another podcast episode. And this is a subject that I've wanted to talk about for a while. Legend of Zelda is finally getting a movie, a live action movie. Now, at first, fans were really excited, and then the excitement quickly died. Oh my gosh. Well, there's reasons, and we're going to talk about that. I have my notes and everything, and I actually have an article from earlier this month. And so let's just jump right into it, shall we? Now, at first you would think, okay, so the excitement died because fans as old as me was thinking, oh no, we're gonna have uh, we're gonna have what happened with the live action Mario Brothers. No, that's not the case. But I do want to touch on that later on in this video. Um, no, actually, since I mentioned it, let's talk about that. Okay, so because in 1994, um, first of all, a lot of the people weren't talking about. Some were excited for the live action concept of Legend of Zelda. Others were saying it should be animation, like the new Super Mario Brothers that was released. I think it's been 2 years at this point, and it's all blending. It's all blending. But at this point, because of the beauty of CGI and everything, I mean, all that stuff. One thing that I cannot stand are people that say, well, the technology wasn't there back in the day, and, this, that, and the other. Watch Dragonheart, watch the first one, and you're trying to tell me that technology wasn't there. Go further back. The 60s, Jason and the Argonauts, and you're trying to say stop motion existed, people. The fact that that movie exists, and you're trying to say there was a guy that fought with stop motion skeletons. Okay, the technology is there. Okay. In Parent Trap, Haley Mills stood next to Haley Mills. In the 80s, Tim Curry wore the prosthetics and everything. I mean, the makeup job and everything to look like that character. A lot of the makeup jobs and prosthetics and all of that stuff for these fantasy movies from the 80s. Look, one of my guilty pleasure movies is the live action Masters of the Universe. And yes, I get made fun of for it and I don't care. But the thing is that with all the makeup and everything, he looks like Skeletor. Okay? Your excuse of, well, back in the day, that wasn't there. No, it was. You're just being lazy now. Okay? Because in 1991, The Rocketeer, they put out all the stops so that it looked like Cliff Secord flew. Okay? He strapped the rocket pack on and he flew. And then 3 years later, are you telling me that they just made a random guy and called him Bowser? They couldn't make him actually look, they couldn't strap on prosthetics and everything to actually make the only two people. Here I go. The only two people that actually look like their characters were Mario and Luigi. There were no Goombas. I remember watching that movie when I was a kid. Actually, I was in middle school at that point. In 94, I was in middle school. Just watching it going, what? That's not the game. What is. And then when you hear about what Bob Hoskins went through throughout that whole, and the thing about it is Bob had been in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and you're trying to tell me with the genius that went into Who Framed Roger Rabbit, everything that went into that movie, and you're trying to tell me that they couldn't put in the effort to, oh gosh, to actually make Bowser be there? For Goombas to be there? Oh my gosh. Look, that movie in many ways is nostalgic for me, but I'm not going to defend it because I hear more and more and more where it's like, well, back in the day, this was okay. Back in the day, that was okay. Back in the day, they didn't have this, they didn't have that. We weren't cavemen, for fuck's sake. We weren't. Okay. And it's getting old to for you guys who are so obsessed with CGI and now you're wanting AI, artificial intelligence, that if the computer cuts out, you're done. Yeah, 5 seconds. All it takes is to think about that. But here's the thing is that then the next year, after, because 94 and then 95, came Dragonheart. Okay, a dragon voiced by Sean Connery was walking around next to Dennis Quaid. You could see the scales, the leathery skin. Everything about I disregard the sequels and prequels of that. They don't exist to me. The only one is the first one. Okay, you look at Willow and everything that went into that. All right. Oh, they didn't have technology back in Jason and the Argonauts. People, just remind yourself of stop motion skeletons fighting, and then to have that big automaton show up. Damn. Planet of the Apes, they're still making because Hollywood isn't original. And that's where we come to why people are questioning this decision. Because the director for this live action Legend of Zelda is Wes Ball. Okay, he doesn't have much under his belt. Okay, in 2011 he did a movie titled Ruin, never heard of it. But then he did the Maze Runner movies. I've never seen them, never read the books. And so I looked around and looked at some comments from fans of this franchise. And what a lot of people had to say was that the cinematography is absolutely amazing, absolutely stunning. But as for the actual story, it goes off the rails. It does not stick with the story with the books at all. So a lot of people who read the books and were expecting the story from the book, that's not what they got. And that would be upsetting. It just reminded me of back in, I think, 2000 or 2001 when Captain Corelli's Mandolin came out. Now, the people were reading the book, me included. Book is amazing, absolutely amazing. So we were expecting we were anticipating the movie, which has like Nicolas Cage, Penelope Cruz, John Hurt is in it, Christian Bale's in it, and I think it's set in Greece, and it seems like there's a Greek and Italian actors in it as well. So you go to see the movie, and it's not the book at all. Not at all. A lot of people were disappointed. They just barely made the box office sales just barely made it over budget. And that's why everybody forgets the movie is because yeah, the book is so beautiful. The book is so wonderful. I highly recommend it. But the movie is not even close. And so from the sound of it, with Maze Runner, it's the same thing as what I dealt with here. So I can relate. Uh, and so you have those three movies, and then next year Wes Ball is set to release Planet of the Apes, something we never asked for. Because why do they keep fixating on Planet of the Apes? Okay, the originals were the best. Yeah, the ones with Roddy McDowell, and I don't understand this. Um, yeah. Okay. So basically, five movies where he's a director, and three of them he's also the producer. Okay. He has other credits where he's like a visual artist and a graphic artist and that sort of thing. So, yeah, this is questionable because this never works. It never works. Sure, you can have visual effects to high heaven and it's great and everything, but if you go off of the actual story, and especially when your 2011 movie nobody remembers, nobody even knew that you did it, and then you're just doing another remake. How many times are they going to remake Planet of the Apes? Just watch Roddy McDowell's the original, and nobody asked for that because it keeps bombing. Because again, nobody asked for that. And the producer that was chosen, actually, when I looked him up, he's successful. Avi Arad, and I'm sorry if I say it incorrectly. I say his name incorrectly because he's done a lot with Marvel. You know, Spider-Man 2. He's been a producer and an executive producer, and he's done a lot with television and I mean, like again, successful. He's got his own production company and all of it. So he's that isn't the issue here. Avi isn't the issue. Because I mean, when you work with all of these uh, movies, that can't be the issue. It's Wes that's the issue. Okay. Now, again, like I said earlier, there were a lot of people that said a lot of fans of Legend of Zelda that said it should be animated, not live action. Now, they've been saying that for a long time. A lot of people have been saying, well, you know, it should have an animated TV series. Of course, my generation, they already had that. And then, of course, arguments break out and everything. It's ridiculous. And serious, why would they do it again if they already have it? Just watch what was already there. What's your problem? Oh, is it because he's dark hair Link and not blonde? We can make a whole argument out of this. And why do we always gloss over pink hair link? I just don't understand. They could make a whole series out of pink hair link. I would watch it for days. I tell you that right now. I enjoy pink hair link. In fact, when my brother and I were discussing this, we were talking about if they made this movie all about Link to the Past, that'd be fine. And we just sign me up. That's it right there. We're done. So now the thing about it is that when they talk about the animated version of Legend of Zelda, uh, they say that it should be anime. There's always somebody that brings up that it should be anime. And I agree with that. I mean, why not? Why shouldn't Link be anime? But then they bring up Studio Ghibli. Here we go. Oh my gosh. So, when it comes to Studio Ghibli, look, before you get the wrong idea, I absolutely love Studio Ghibli. I've seen Kiki's Delivery Service a billion times. I remember when it came out because I'm ancient. I'm ancient as the hills, and I love that movie. I absolutely love that movie. And in fact, I just somewhere they were showing like behind the scenes footage of different Studio Ghibli uh, movies, and in one of them, apparently Christian Bale is in one of them. Which one was that? Let's see. Uh, Howl's Moving Castle. And he's reading off his lines, and then all of a sudden he does his Batman voice. So yeah, he's got an anime voice now, and that one actually has two big stars in it. And as yeah, Christian Bale is fine, but this one had like I think Lauren Bacall in it, it had Billy Crystal, and but there was another one, and I can't think of her name. I'm looking at it right now, trying to anyway. My connection is being slow. And gosh, what was her name? Gene Simmons. And like Gene Simmons, if you don't know, again, my computer is being. She was in Spartacus. And I absolutely love Spartacus. That's. Yeah, for the longest time I thought that Gladiator was a remake of Spartacus, and then it turns out it's not. So, yeah, she's a lady in Spartacus. So that's a big deal. How were they able to get Lauren Bacall, who, if you don't know who Lauren Bacall is, she was married to Humphrey Bogart. So Lauren Bacall and Gene Simmons, and it's like, oh, okay, so you got Christian Bale, okay, whatever. So he's got an anime voice now, but Lauren Bacall and Gene Simmons, holy goodness! And they, and it's like, cool, Christian Bale got to work with them. In an anime, Studio Ghibli. So yeah, I mean, like, I enjoy Studio Ghibli. I mean, like, again, I've seen Kiki's Delivery Service a billion times. I love Spirited Away, and Ponyo. One of these days, I'll watch the one that this Howl's Moving Castle that was made 2004. No shit. I'll catch up someday. I was doing I was heavy into emo back then. I didn't care. Look, Three Cheers and American Idiot had come out. I had better fish to fry. I didn't care about that stuff. I was heavy in the concert scene. Who cared about Christian Bale back then? Sorry, Christian Bale. Don't care. But yeah, I'll watch that someday. I'll probably even buy it and put it in now that he has an anime voice. But anyway, this is what I have to say about Studio Ghibli is it seems like every time there's an anime something that comes up, these people who are like so big into anime, it's like, yes, I'm an anime expert. I've watched all this anime, this, that, and the other. And then it's like they're asked a question about anime and they're like, they should make it in the style of Studio Ghibli. It's like, are you kidding me? When there's all this other anime that you're talking about. Yeah, studio. Let's go right back to this. I, I cracks me up. As someone who has watched a lot of different anime, one of my favorites is Lupin the Third. Look, I love Trigun, but I've watched from like the 70s and 60s Speed Racer. You know, why not do it in the style of Speed Racer? I love that the movie, the live action movie is getting a comeback because quite honestly, it stayed true to the source material. It really did. For all those dumbasses, and yes, you're dumbasses who say that a live action anime can't work, quit watching Netflix. Because it can. It really can. Speed Racer is a perfect example. It's just too bad that it bombed in the box office. And don't go by the Super Mario Brothers thing. No, but Studio Ghibli is like the beginner tutorial of anime. I said it. Okay, we all grew up on it. I did. and, and this isn't me trashing Studio Ghibli because I already told you. I've seen Kiki's Delivery Service a billion times. My Neighbor Totoro, I love it. Ponyo and Spirited Away, I love it. And then it was like the emo scene came up and I gotta go. But it is. It really is. I mean, everybody when they first hear about anime, they go directly to Studio Ghibli. Now, the style of it, I'm not saying anything against the style of it, but the one thing about the style of Studio Ghibli is that it doesn't match every single game in Legend of Zelda. The last two games, it does. Okay, I I'm not disagreeing with that. With Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, it does. Okay, the Oracle games, it oh my gosh, can you imagine a TV series with the with the Oracle games in the style of Studio Ghibli? Sign me up. Little side note, I'm kind of surprised that Nintendo won't release the those games in a pack for Switch. Maybe it can't be translated for the Switch. I don't know. Maybe they're working on it. I hope they are. But when you look at a game, well, like Link to the Past, Pink Hair Link, like we were mentioning before, the style doesn't work. I mean, you're kind of stretching it with My Neighbor Totoro, that style, but I mean, basically, you're looking at the rain. And it didn't rain throughout the whole game, and it didn't rain throughout the whole. And that's the thing is you want to show respect to both the style of Studio Ghibli and to the style of the games. Now, at the same time, we don't know exactly what they're going to do. Are they going to tie in the entire timeline? Which, that's. uh, maybe do like what Prince of Persia did. Those of you that have never seen Prince of Persia, I recommend at least watching it once. I mean, I absolutely love because I grew up playing the game, playing the different games which I need to play it here on the channel. I keep saying I'm going to, and because I bought all those games except for the very first one. They need to put the very first one on Steam, and they don't. I hope so soon. I hope they do very soon. But in the movie itself with Jake Gyllenhaal, uh, they have all these different elements that you see in all the different games. So, like little Easter eggs, basically. And so, if you've played the different games, it's like, oh yeah, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, I remember that. And so it's not just a story to tell a story. You do see different elements of the games. I'm pretty sure no matter what, there's going to be fans upset. It is what it is. There's because of 35 plus, almost 40 years at this point of this game being played of Legend of Zelda. There's going to be people upset. And you think of how many games there are, and so yeah, but no, I'm not disrespecting Studio Ghibli at all. Like I said, looks like I'll have to just buy Howl's Moving Castle, get to hear Christian Bale's Batman voice. Was he Batman yet? No, I don't think so. In 2004, no, he wasn't Batman until 2007. So I just thought of that. Oh well, like I said, I had I had discarded Christian Bale at that point and replaced him with Gerard Way. So what do I care? I was never. Side note here, I never had a crush on Gerard Way like all the other emo girls did. No, I just listened to the music. So yeah, I was weird like that. I was a weird emo girl. I just went to the concerts, listened to the music, had fun. Yeah, just crazy like that. Anyway, so I found this article. Let's move on from that. This article that let's see, when was it released? It was December 5th. This is the 15th now, so 10 days ago. And it says Legend of Zelda movie director wants it to be live action Miyazaki. And of course, Miyazaki is he's known for Studio Ghibli. Basically, he is Studio Ghibli. I don't know how else to phrase that. Let's just be honest with each other. I'll put this article in the description box so you can read it. I'm not going to read the entire thing. So, director Wes Ball opened up for the first time about Nintendo's planned Legend of Zelda live action movie, saying he hopes to make it feel like a real live action take on the world of legendary filmmaker Miyazaki. Okay, that might work, but then again, it might not. That might blow up in his face. Okay, I can hear fans right now, 'cause I have the force. It's just, I can hear fans right now saying, why doesn't he just make it animation? Why doesn't he just make it an animated Studio Ghibli? And even after everything I just said, I have to agree with those of you that are saying that because honestly, this just seems like overthinking at this point. No disrespect against Miyazaki, because it seems like more respect to Miyazaki to just make it an animated movie. Just make it the anime movie at this point. Look, as someone who overthinks like crazy, if you watch my channel, I do. This just seems like way too much. Just make it the anime. If you want to uh make it if you want to show respect to Miyazaki's work, just make the movie Yeah. Am I the weird one? Because I just feel like you're taking too many steps at this point. Well, let's keep going. He touched on his ambitions during an interview, saying that although the project is just getting off the ground, he's been inspired by the work done at Studio Ghibli. Okay, that makes sense. Um, I mean, everybody is inspired by something, right? Whenever you're doing a project, you're inspired by whatever. So he's been asked to do this project, and he's inspired. A lot of fans, even it sounds like he's listening to the fans because a lot of fans have said Studio Ghibli. It should be Studio Ghibli, and as I said before, it just depends on the game itself. I mean, Oracle of those Oracle games would be perfect. I would I would watch an anime series that is centered around the Oracle games. I mean, honestly, that would be just perfect. Anyway, while the project won't lose its fantasy groundwork, it better not because you would have riots. Why would you say that? The point of Legend of Zelda is that it's fantasy. That was the whole thing about it. I remember, even at a young age, I was 4 years old when this came out. And there were, like, a lot of the other games that were being pumped out were like shoot 'em up and and that sort of thing, and like the Qbert where it's strategy and that kind of thing. And of course you have the boxing games and so sport games and that. Legend of Zelda was so different. And so because it was so different because of its fantasy aspect, Nintendo wasn't sure if it would get off the ground. And so that's why they put out a bunch of merchandise and made the TV series and that sort of thing. they were they were afraid it wasn't going to sell as well as it did. Better not lose its fantasy. That's the whole point. Just don't put Navi in it. Please don't put Navi in it. Oh, fans should also expect it to differ from something like Lord of the Rings. Okay, this line really bothered me. And the reason for that is because when you look up the inspiration for Legend of Zelda, okay, the main inspiration was Miyamoto's explorations as a young boy. You know, he would explore hillsides, forests, and caves surrounding his childhood home in Japan. All right, and you get and you, once you read that, you really understand the first game, the very first 86 Zelda game. But then you move on, and it says the story and setting was developed seeking to create a fairy tale adventure game, and they drew inspiration from fantasy books such as Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. Okay, according to this particular individual, I'm not going to say the name because I'm afraid of butchering it, who wrote the backstory in the first game's manual. The location named Death Mountain was initially a working title for The Legend of the Triforce, which was written with inspiration from battles of medieval Europe. The Master Sword was introduced as Excalibur in the French version of A Link to the Past. And then, of course, Epona is based on the Celtic goddess of fertility. Of course, who didn't know that? Actually, it varies. She was also she also protected horses, so it differs. It's either fertility. It could be both. They always had a lot of different responsibilities. So, but yeah, so it their inspirations for the game itself was Lord of the Rings. Why are you trying to take that away? See, this guy doesn't even know what he's supposed to be working on. So he says he envisions this awesome fantasy adventure movie that isn't like Lord of the Rings. It's its own thing, which, okay, all right, fine. That's totally fine. But the original inspiration was Lord of the Rings. Don't make it exactly Lord of the Rings. We're not asking for another Lord of the Rings movie. We're not asking you to do, because no. I've always said I would love to see a live action Miyazaki. That wonder and whimsy that he brings to things, I would love to see something like that. Okay. Well, I'm just, and like I said, I'm just sure that those of you that are Studio Ghibli fans, and myself included, I'm just saying that, well, I already said it, I'm not going to repeat it. Um, this could blow up in his face. And I didn't finish my original sentence. The fans are saying just do an anime. I think he's overthinking this way too much. Oh, see, they're thinking for the fans now. A desire to channel Miyazaki's work is a lofty goal, and it's one that pop culture fans will no doubt find attractive. Uh, don't think for the fans, Pally. Many have attempted to capture the magic of Studio Ghibli films, though most of them are animated projects or video games with anime-esque art styles. A live-action picture in this style, especially one set in the Zelda universe, sounds ambitious. Yes, it does. Okay, and maybe it's just me, but it also sounds like um have attempted to capture the they have. My brother showed me this fan art of Link in the style of studio. Look, a lot of your fan art is absolutely stunning. Makes me wish that I could actually draw. My stick people look bad. Oh, good heavens. The the Studio Ghibli style fan art is absolutely stunning and amazing. So when this says many have attempted to capture the magic, and I have seen trailers for things, where it's fan made trailers for different stuff and in the style of different things. I don't like how this is worded. This is like, well, because I'm making this live action movie, I'm doing it better. No, I think this is going to blow up in his face. At first, it sounded like he was listening to the fans because he was doing the Studio Ghibli thing. He was inspired by Studio Ghibli and everything. Now it doesn't sound like it at all. But I could be over. Yeah, I overthink. I do that too. And so then he goes on to say, it's going to be awesome. Don't count your chickens, pal. My whole life has led up to this moment. I grew up on Zelda, and it is the most important property. You know what? There are a lot of people that I've said on this channel a million times that I was 4 years old when it came out. I have a bunch of Zelda merchandise. That doesn't mean a damn thing. If I was hired to do this project, it doesn't matter. Okay, you're going to make certain fans upset. Okay, I'm sorry, but it's great that you want to do a live action version of Studio Ghibli, and And that I have, again, nothing against Studio Ghibli, everything, but it sounds way too ambitious. I I hate when they do this where they're like, I grew up on this, I grew up on that, I did it my whole. They always bring up this as if we've never done this before. Oh my gosh, I grew up on Legend of Zelda. My brother can play the game better than I can. He's 6 years younger than me. His best friend knows about the games far better than I do. And he's the same age as my brother. I have a really good friend. She's in the same category. We uh, grew up together. We graduated high school together, and she's her knowledge of Zelda far surpasses mine. So just because you grew up on these games means jack. Okay? Nobody cares. I can't stand when people do that. Yeah, I have merch. I've bought merch. My parents have gifted me with merch. Doesn't matter. Okay? The last time I played the game was probably 2 months ago. So I'm still trying to get through Tears of the Kingdom. I keep dying. Yeah, this one's a little harder for me. Um, yeah, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. I really can't stand when somebody is hired to do something like this and they're like, I grew up on this. It's like, who cares? I grew up on Transformers. Nobody cares. I did too. I was traumatized when that happened in the movie. Stand in line. So we very much are working hard to do something. Well, I would hope so. Instead of sitting on your hands doing nothing. I don't know why he said. We're not just trying to do it because we can. We want to make, so it's just word vomit at this point. We want to make something really special. Yeah, okay. Make word vomit. So basically, yeah, I'll put the rest of it because it keeps going from there. And but basically, he makes it sound like he's on board with the fans because fans have been saying for a long time they want it in the style of Studio Ghibli. Okay, that it should be an anime. And that was one thing when they announced this. People were like, well, it should be in the style of Studio Ghibli. They should have made it animated just like the Super Mario Brothers movie. And so, but to make it a live action Studio Ghibli style, um, I may have worked for Speed Racer, but I don't know how this is going to work because of the fact that there are, I mean, I don't think this will work. It just, I feel like right now the only live action would be the gangster rap. Does anybody remember that? Oh gosh, I used to know the entire thing. And I did. I used to know all of it by heart. I think everybody did at one point. And but it oh Lord. I'm telling you what they need to do. My brother and I are correct. They need to do the Link to the Past. They just need to do Link to the Past, an animated Link to the Past, and just be done. That's what he needs to do, Link to the Past. And maybe it should be in the style of Studio Ghibli. I will agree with that. And then do an anime TV series in Oracle in the Oracle style, Studio Ghibli, the Oracle games, and we're done. But this whole thing where, yeah, don't make it Lord of the Rings because, yeah, Lord of the Rings is its own thing, and we already have something attached to it that is not its own. Rings of Power or whatever. I don't even want to get into that. Nobody is asking you to make it Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings was the inspiration. I don't think he even knows what he's doing. He doesn't have a plan. I mean, if he's inspired by Studio Ghibli, that's fine. And I'm wondering if he's inspired by a lot of your fan art as well, from the sound of it. Anyway, yeah, I don't think this is going to work. I think he's overthinking. I don't think he has a plan at this point. Because especially this last where he's like, so we're very much working hard on something. We're not just doing it because we can. We want to make something really special. That's just word vomit. It just doesn't make any sense. Um, I mean, okay, fine. He's inspired by Studio Ghibli, and but to make a live action Studio Ghibli, even with everything that I said, an animated Studio Ghibli would be a lot easier than making a live action Studio Ghibli. I think that would blow up in his face. You know, I didn't see the new Super Mario Brothers movie, and a lot of people were saying what Nintendo should do is just another animated for it. Just I'm thrown by why he would say, "Well, the project won't lose its fantasy groundwork." It sure as hell should not. That's the whole point of Legend of Zelda. Why would you say something like that? Yeah. So, it sounds like he doesn't have a plan at all, and that's why people should really be worried, myself included. Um, all those people that said that they should do an anime series, yeah, and all the other fans that said no, they shouldn't. They should do a movie. I'm telling you, they should. They should do. My brother and I, who said, "Link to the Past." That's what the movie should be about, and we're done. One of the things that bothered me so much, you know, Link Between Worlds is actually a really good game, but the only thing that bothers me is that it's a direct sequel to Link to the Past, and he doesn't have his pink hair. Where did it go? Bothered me so much. I was playing that game, and it was just like, what is going? Just frustrated me. His hair was not pink, not pink anymore. So, oh my goodness. So anyway, yeah, right now it looks like they really don't know what they're doing. The director has no clue. I really think that this idea at first it sounds like he's listening to the fans. You know, a lot of the fans want to do Studio Ghibli, but he's turning it into live action. I mean, if you're inspired by Studio Ghibli, that's one thing, and maybe put little elements in the background here and there. But all those people that talked about Maze Runner, the Maze Runner fans, looks like that's what's going to happen here. Uh, I really hope Miyamoto fires this guy. Miyamoto, if you're watching, remember 1994. Remember 1994. Oh my gosh. You could have had somebody wear prosthetics and actually have Bowser standing there. There should have been actual Goombas. Other movies had the special effects and everything there. And yet, for some reason, that's not what happened. Yeah, the technology is there to have Gleox and Aquamantises and all the other stuff, that shadow hand come down, have all of that stuff. So, I mean, just need the right director. And sounds like this guy isn't it. Remaking remaking Planet of the Apes again. Nobody asked for that. Anyway, I really hope you guys understand where I'm at with Studio. I love Studio Ghibli. I'm gonna have to buy that one. Was it Howl's Moving Castle? I'm gonna have to buy it now and put it next to. I'm gonna, because it was that video that I did talking about how Gabriel Damon has an anime voice. So now I'm gonna have to put it. I'm gonna have to buy this and yeah. Yeah, Christian Bale was doing that voice, and he wasn't Batman until 2007. Huh. Anyway, so yeah, Legend of Zelda is getting a movie. Looks like Wes Ball doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. I'll have this article in the description box for you, and I'll keep up on this, and it'll probably be a series. And but anyway, I'll close up here.